The views and opinions expressed do not necessarily represent those of Access Fort Wayne, the Allen County Public Library, or any other supporting group. Access Fort Wayne is a department of the Allen County Public Library. If you or anyone you know might be interested in making a television show, please call 260-421-1250.
Hi, Dr. Rudy Cashman. Welcome to our Mind, Body, Spirit show. This is going to be kind of interesting. I think we've all participated in the problem I'm going to speak about today, fast food. We've all been tempted in that direction. But basically, it's unhealthy. And since Rudy has declared war on diabetes, fast food certainly is part of it, okay? But it's more than just a hamburger and hot dogs and fries. It's also processed foods, tacos, burritos, cereals, cold cuts, meats wrapped in fat, salt, sugar, pretzels, crackers, energy bars, soda, etc. These are all fast foods, and they are quite unhealthy. But I want to explain to you the science of that. But what's the result? Why do I want you to think twice before participating in the big-time consumption of fast food? I mean, we're all one time or another going to be tempted in that direction, but a lot of America, 50% of Americans eat it every day. That's their meal. What's the result? Type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes has got 30, 50 diseases associated with it, and fast food is the cause of it. That's why I think this is an opportunity for us to avoid it, and I'm trying to encourage you to do that. Yeah, it has to do with strokes, memory loss, dementia. Alzheimer's disease, 70% of Alzheimer's disease is due to eating the wrong food. Yeah, drug companies make you think, the government makes you think it's a genetic disease. No, it's largely what we eat. You can avoid dementia. 90% of dental disease is due to sugar, which is plentiful in fast food. Thyroid disease, heart attacks, strokes, cardiac arrhythmias, liver disease, fatty liver. The livers that we are doing transplants on are all secondary to diabetes, fatty liver, renal disease, renal transplants, dialysis. It's all related to fast food. Many bowel diseases, impotency, genetic effects on babies. Yeah, what the mother eats and consumes through epigenetics affects the genetic DNA, something called epigenetics. Her baby, whether the baby is underweight or overweight or deformed, depends on what the mother is eating. Actually, it depends on where the mother and father were eating before conception. It changed their DNA. And then it becomes pregnant, and then what she's eating while the baby is in the uterus has a tremendous effect on the baby. Yeah, most abnormalities in babies and children can be avoided through proper nutrition. So food choice, type of food, is critical. That's the critical thing. So you have to look at the food that you're eating, okay? We are participating in our own destruction by eating the wrong food. So can you, with your eyes, tell the people that have problems with it? Yeah, look around. Look around, look around. People that are overweight, 99% have diabetes. Many undiagnosed, ran the wrong test. I recommend serum insulin test. You can watch one of my other shows on that, my half hour on diabetes, where I talk a lot about that, 6:30 on Mondays. on Comcast. You can watch that. I think very important to get the correct test. I'm not diabetic, but you weigh 250. You're diabetic unless you prove to me that you're not. Oh, okay? So we're eating processed fake foods, okay? And they become addictive. They're addictive, so they make us, they're a quick fix. It's like a cigarette, alcohol, marijuana. And they made a donut, it makes us feel good. I'm in heaven. Believe me, I'm familiar with that. If there's a donut tonight in my house, which I don't allow, but it could be because we're having a party tonight, I suspect there'll be some foods there, I'll be eating it. Yeah, here's a guy who weighs 137 pounds on a regular basis, but nature has so designed a quick fix with dopamine, we feel great. It's like alcohol or cigarettes. Fast food is just like that. The sugar in fast food is more addictive than cocaine. Mm-hmm. I debated someone on that on TV, and I think they thought it was sugar. I think they won the debate. Sugary desserts is common. You know, it's once you see it, it's hard not to eat it. Okay, it's related to lifestyles. So it's not just weight lines, but it's lifestyle in general. So fast foods are killing us, no doubt about it. When Dr. Robert Lustig, a famous pediatric endocrinologist in California, he says, we're not fit to eat. He's talking about us. Okay. So an interesting thing, too, is actually our brain is highly dependent on nutrients, okay? Minerals, vitamins, phytochemicals that run the machinery of our brain, okay? So if we're eating frankenfoods, fast foods, it affects the intelligence of our children. It affects your brain, okay? Increased learning disabilities in children who eat nothing but sugar and frankenfoods. Makes children hyperactive. ADHD is a lot related to the diet consumed by the child. There's been a tremendous increase in ADHD in the last decade or so because we are increasingly eating fast food. Someone wrote a book called Fast Food Nation. I don't have it with me today, but that explains the history of McDonald's and fast food places going back to California in the old days, a book I highly recommend to you to read. And the government was involved. These people did a lot of lobbying, and they were able to spread across straight lines all over the nation. Now we have fast food places throughout the world. Even China has them now, okay? And China is having they have the largest number of diabetics in the world. Not the highest percentage because they have so many people there, but the highest number of diabetics are in China and India. And they are going to get these 30, 50 diseases, and they have them there already. Okay. Also associated with eating the wrong food, because of being overweight and obese, and increased rates of cancer. 70% of cancer is related to the type of food you're eating, so that you could avoid many cancers by eating the right food. There's a higher incidence of that than even smoking. Smoking has a high rate of cancer associated with it, thank you. But eating the wrong food, even a higher rate. Excuse me while I have a little glass of water. I think I've been speaking too much today, All right, thank you very much. So epigenetics, a term, that I mentioned a few minutes ago. It's upon your genes, end of our DNA, end of our chromosomes. There's an extension called telomeres, which can be influenced by what you do. Actually, when we're born, our DNA is maybe 10% expressed. 90% depends on what we're feeding the infant, what sounds the infant's exposed to, for example, if you play music or speak to them, this affects their DNA, their genetic structure. It's a field called epigenetics, very interesting. So excess calories and malnutrition as a result of eating fast food, because we're not satisfying our nutrient need, and we keep on eating and eating to fulfill our nutrient need, and because fast foods are stripped of nutrients, they're stripped of vitamins, and industry has done that and put a lot of sugar in there, for example. It affects African Americans more. Why is that? Because through slavery, no breakfast, no lunch, and they they had to eat to stay alive, so they ate the sugar cane. And there's been some genetic change, but it's a small percent. It's genetic expression. They have Southern cooking, for example. It's not because they're black. It's because they're exposed to bad food more likely. Southern cooking involves a lot of fast foods, chicken, for example, a lot, which is 40% fat, and they affect it more. But children that are affected are less likely to finish high school, 40% chance of having high blood pressure. That's my experience observing this, 80% higher rates of stroke, 50% higher chance of death, times 2 the chance of diabetes. Yes, the African and South American population has twice the incidence of type 2 diabetes with chronic diseases. Mm-hmm. It's because the type of foods they're exposed to. And of course, it affects how they succeed in school. They've even associated increased rates of abnormal behavior, which I already mentioned, to the type of food you're eating. 4 times the chance of getting kidney disease, 70% increased chance of cancer, and then we already mentioned Alzheimer's disease, all produced by eating the wrong food. I took my specialty training in neurosurgery at Georgetown University in Washington, D.C., and this was long before we had CT and MRI. I saw a tremendous number of patients with high blood pressure to an extent which is almost unbelievable. It was largely the African-American community. Blood pressure is 400 over 250. Mm-hmm. That incidence I've not seen in Fort Wayne at that rate. I see a lot of high blood pressure, but not at the extreme of it. And they had large, huge brain hemorrhages, which I operate a lot, so I'm very experienced with that. I didn't know much about diabetes then, so that didn't click with me. But now it's clicking with me. And what I'm about is preventing it. We need to save lives, decrease disability. This cannot continue. But I look at it as a golden opportunity. I look at it as a golden opportunity because through proper health education, that we can change it. And that's what I'm trying to do. And I'm doing a big time. Matter of fact, I'm speaking at the Martin Luther King convention on January the 20th, Monday, this coming January. The Martin Luther King Committee asked me to give the speech on diabetes. I have to credit them. It's not the hospitals that are asking me, it's the community is asking me. And that, to me, is a great opportunity to save lives, reduce disability, and this community may lead the way for the rest of us to change because it affects the white community just a little bit lower rate. It's 70 versus, say, 90%. So if you're not doing anything that Monday, I'll hold up for you. 10:30 in the morning, I'm giving the talk. I'd appreciate your support. Thank you. And so what fast food does, poor food transforms our DNA, which affects the RNA, which expresses what happens to us, okay? Whether what our health is all about, okay? And so what we have, a food industrial disparity, because some of these communities some of these communities don't have access to buy good food. And this is what is existing today. I was sad to find out even that there are parts, depending on educational level, depend on the neighborhood, these food companies will sell different types of food. They're matching certain parts of the community what they can get away with. For a tomato, for example, maybe a number 350 in one area of town and a number 37 in another area of town, because it costs the company less and they can get away with it. So we have food disparities, and I'm looking at this seriously. I found the Aldi store, ALDI store. I see one south in town here now, sells healthy food at a cheaper price. And spoke to someone recently in that community with high diabetes rates. They didn't even know about the store. So I want to mention it to you to kind of explore it. And I'm not a final opinion on it, but at least that's a step into the community. And maybe we could develop some further fresh food markets, for example, gardens, for example. So, I mean, I've declared war on diabetes, okay, and its chronic diseases, but my bullets are information. They're information. I'm trying to provide you information here. So, and remember what I said about fast food. You can become addicted to it. It affects our health, our intelligence. It can make people depressed, for example. So nutrition, the good news is nutrition overpowers genetics. So you're not just because, well, everybody in my family has diabetes, I'm going to have it. No. You're eating the same food. That's the problem the majority of the time. But the government, medical establishment, industry is doing this to us. We must hold them to account. You would not believe this, but it's true. The U.S. government gives $40 billion to the corn industry every year to make high fructose corn syrup cheap, which is about every fast food you can find. For one thing, it's a preservative. The things are less likely to rot if you put high fructose corn syrup into it. It's addictive. So what is your ideal body mass index? Okay, that helps determine your height and your size. 25 or so or under, but it's a little bit different age groups, even in racial groups a little bit, okay? But if you use that as a measurement, though, about 80% of the people in this country are overweight. It's a judgment-free zone. The only reason that concerns me is that you might develop all these chronic diseases and diabetes, although we have the trophies, thin on the outside, but fat on the inside. They have fatty liver, fat throughout every organ, but they look thin. So you are, as far as I'm concerned, what your blood tests are. You are your blood tests. So get tested and get the correct test, okay? So really good news is the type of food. If you eat the right way 6 weeks or so, 90% would have no diabetes, for example, because your metabolism in your body is run by your biome, those trillions of bacteria that live in your gut. When you're eating good food, they die out quickly because the lifespan of one bacteria in your gut, your biome, 24 hours. So if you're overweight or have a diabetes problem, you're eating right, quickly it'll change within a week, Mark Hyman would say. And so let's define fast food a little. I myself am a nutrientarian. I eat nutrient-dense food 80% of the time. You don't have to be perfect, okay? Fruits of color are your mother, okay? And so fast food, you get it fast, you eat it fast, you digest it fast, you increase weight fast, okay? Your sugar level goes up fast. Your insulin level goes up fast. It gives you I'm in heaven. Your feel-good hormone, dopamine, comes up fast. It's like smoking a cigarette, okay, which I don't recommend, okay? And you get addicted fast. You get addicted fast, okay? So processing food, okay, destroys the nutrients, okay? The vitamins, the minerals, the phytochemicals that run the machinery of your body, okay? They're needed for metabolism. They make it go. So fast food also supplies toxins, chemicals they add to it to make it taste good, for example. And you can buy chicken, for example, is so wrapped in sugar and fat and salt, that's what makes it taste good. So it can be quite unhealthy. Matter of fact, I went through a fast food restaurant once to get a cup of coffee, which I would drink on the way to Ohio to one of my clinics because I worked all night. And by mistake, they gave me chicken McNuggets, I think about 20 of them, in a bag, and I laid them in my seat. I should have been tipped off right there, so halfway to Van Wert, I look in the bag, and it's 22 chicken McNuggets. Okay, I came home. You wouldn't believe this, but it's true. I have a woodchuck lives under my house. I'm friends with him, okay? I didn't want to kill him. He's been there now 11 years. He still shows me his beautiful teeth. I think he loves me. Okay, so I laid those out for him. And guess what? He would not eat them. I mean, well, for one thing, I found out he's vegetarian, so I gave it to the other animals. No one ate the chicken McNuggets because I think their sense of smell is better than mine, and they smelled those toxins. Nobody ate it. I had to throw it in the garbage. Kind of interesting story. And so these restaurants wrap the food in chemicals made largely in New Jersey. They've discovered the bliss point of food. Like for children is 36%. They can make it 36% sugar and the child still eat it. While for adults, generally 22%. And industry knows that. Industry is doing it to you. Industry, the government is doing it to you. Okay? And remember, for example, in a restaurant, a lot of restaurants, they show you desserts first. Why do they do that? Because once you see them, you can't resist them. I'm familiar with that. Okay. So fast food is suicide on the installment plan. A little bit of time. A lot of times these diseases take years to form, but sometimes heart attacks, for example, 50% of heart attacks, people never had an angina. They grab their chest and they die. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so keep this in mind. If you're gaining weight, you're eligible for that. Okay, so we, in our nation, they've been running the wrong test on people, so they don't run serum insulin, they run just blood sugars. That we probably have 200 million, 250 million people that are on the path to vascular disease, which is the first complication of diabetes. They're on the path to it because of the wrong testing. We need to test our children with serum insulins. Dr. Kraft studied them age 3 to 90. In the book, you can go Amazon books, Joseph Kraft, his book is there, the curves are there. But I look at it as an opportunity to stop this, prevent it, and reverse it. So I don't think it's all bad news, okay? If you eat fast food 2 or 3 times a week, heart attack risk goes up 50%. That's kind of frightful, isn't it? Eat it 4 times a week, it goes up 80%. Remember, insulin punches holes in your endothelium, the one cell layer in all your vasculature, so that starts the process. That's why I think serum insulins are the test we should be getting. And let me tell you some other things about fast. It's absorbed quickly, it's calorie dense, a lot of artificial ingredients, ingredients, highly flavored. They put chemicals in it to flavor them, but the chemicals are dangerous to our health. Our liver has a hard time detoxifying them. It affects our brain. And fast food is full of sugar and salt. Remember, they wrap it in it to give it a nice taste, so you come back and eat it again. And let's talk a little bit about fat and oils, too, a little bit. Let's get off sugar a little bit here. So certain fats are bad. Certain fats are good. Omega-3 fats you need. Omega-6 fats you need a little bit, but not as much. We're eating about 20 to 1 omega-6 over omega-3 fats. See, fats are in every cell in your body. They make the membrane. Every cell in your body has some fat in it, okay? So we need some omega-3 fats even when the leaves of the trees pick up the energy from the sun. It makes alpha-linolenic acid a good fat besides making sugar. So picking up the energy from the sun does make some fats, and we need them, okay? But we need the good fats, okay? And so we are eating a high sugar, high glycemic diet, which increased rates of colon cancer, prostate cancer, breast cancer, endometrial cancer, lung cancer, pancreatic cancer, all related. So cancer prevention is due to type of food and the amount of food, okay? And fast food's addictive. We just got to have more. We got to have more. Can't stop eating. We can't stop eating because we have not met our nutrient need, okay? Sugar is more addictive than cocaine, unfortunately, okay? It's a quick fix. A donut, a muffin, for example, absolutely. So, and we already spoke about the bliss point, where a child, you can make it 36%, and some are higher, around 36% sugar, and they'll still eat it. An adult will stop eating 22, 25%. And it's because nature or God, whatever, had designed in us a system that would seek food for us to stay alive. So that's the dopamine, the quick fix. The serotonin is a long-term fix, but you can get the serotonin effect by dancing or walking or giving your loved one a hug, or maybe the cats or the dog, like I did this morning, and your loved one, okay? But cigarettes, alcohol, marijuana do the same thing. But if you add all those other addictions, food is more addictive than all of those combined. Mm-hmm. So we talk about the opioid epidemic. We're putting a lot of money into it, and we're fighting that all the time, spending very little money on the sugar epidemic, the fast food epidemic. Maybe it has to do with politics, okay? An interesting thing is fast food affects your intellect. Yes. So because it destroys the dopamine 2 receptor, and when your receptors die out, the receptors you have left to satisfy them, you have to eat a lot more food. It's called tolerance, okay? So you need to eat more. It's like an addict, okay? He takes more, or he or she takes more and more and more. The same with fast food. More and more to satisfy the D2 receptors to make us feel good. We're traveling down here, but we have a quick fix with a soda, for example, which a lot of people have a problem with their weight drinking soda pop all the time, okay? So we have cellular toxicity. We're making our cells in our body toxic, okay? And fast food will form advanced glycation end products called AGEs, but those AGEs are free radicals. These are electrons that are around every cell, free radicals, and heavy metals and petrochemicals, and these are toxins that affect the metabolism of our body and interfere with learning and cause inflammation throughout the body. And the other substances in the fast foods, bromates and phosphates, colors and flavoring, and these are toxic to our body. Our liver has to get rid of them, and affects our cellular metabolism, okay? And so we have increased kidney disease. Most of these patients that are on dialysis and have kidney disease, it's all related to the type of food that they've been eating. So you could avoid it. And if you have this disease, you can even turn around by eating the right food. And like I said, the blood sugars will drop less than a week, very quick, because of your biome. Those bacteria don't live a long time. So you can change your biome, your metabolism, very quickly. Within a week, blood sugars will drop. So don't throw in the towel, okay? And healthy foods are nutrient dense and will satisfy your appetite. But that's the reason I have a smoothie in the morning. It takes, could be kale, it could be nuts, it could be frozen fruit, fresh fruit, and put it all in a smoothie. You can get these recipes, look them up on my website. For example, I have a smoothie every day. It meets my nutrient needs, so I'm not hungry for a long time, okay? And add a little protein to it. It might be an egg, for example, occasionally some turkey bacon. That's protein, it's not sugar. So if you have a breakfast with some protein, not a steak, because steak has many other things in it too that are not healthy, like the advanced glycation products, and for example. So how can you stop your food addiction? Sometimes it only takes a few days. Don't eat any sugary products 2 or 3 days. You may be over it. I think I've lost my sugar addiction. I don't seek it. If I see it, I might eat it, but I don't go seek it. I don't go somewhere and order it, for example. Okay? Except maybe Christmas. It's around the corner. Okay? And so abstinence is one way of doing it. Eating the right food is a good way to do it. So decreasing your calories, if you're counting calories and you say, I'm going to eat less and lose weight, it doesn't work. And the reason is your body realizes you're starving yourself. Your body will drop its basic metabolic rate. That's the energy used up by your brain, your liver, your pancreas, your heart, doing nothing. Basic metabolic rate. When the body decides that you're starving yourself by not eating, your basic metabolic rate will drop and you won't burn as many calories. That's why you don't lose weight. That's why people who use calorie counting to lose weight, it doesn't work because the BMR drops. They get back to the original. Nature decides that person's starving themselves and tries to save their life. So if you have weight loss, say you lost 50 pounds, okay? Then you weigh less, so you eat less, then the BMR drops because the body thinks you're starving yourself. There's another bunch of calories you're not burning. You see what I mean? You'll be eating very little. Doesn't work. Type of food is the way to lose weight. No calorie counting, type of food. So eating the right food is self-care, okay? That's not deprivation, okay? So sweetness is a kiss of death. Even substitute sugars change your biome, change your brain, and it doesn't work. You keep eating more. You can, for example, use stevia, which is the best of them all, but it changes your biome, it changes your brain. It's 300 times as sweet as sugar, so the next thing you eat is something with sugar. Sugar is a booger and a hooker. Okay. And so a lot of fast food has on it high fructose corn syrup, a preservative, which fructose corn syrup is metabolized largely in the liver, causes fatty liver, and you can see the problems with that. And it's almost in all foods, and it causes fatty liver, so you want to avoid that. And the shelf life is long because of high fructose corn syrup. Remember, the government spends $40 billion a year through lobbying. They're bribing the providers so they'll vote for them. Okay, and the soda pops. Remember, now they used to be about 8 ounces. Now they're 20 ounces. Look at the label. Look at the label. You know, most of them I look at diet-free. It'll say, and I look at the label, 40 grams of sugar, okay? Read labels. I think it's very important, okay? And so the American Medical Association and Internal Medicine Association and an article in the New York Times, a lot of research has been done. So a lot of the research is financed now. Used to be financed by the government, okay? Then the results They can say what they want to, and they're not going to lose money over it. But now most of the research is financed by industry, and when this scientific article comes out that is not favorable to them, they just throw it away. That's the research going on today. The government does not finance a lot of research anymore. That's a real problem. Okay. And about 70 million people have fatty liver. Very dangerous. Can result, they think the largest cause of surgery will be fatty liver in the future. It causes cirrhosis, and the liver shrinks and has to be, you have to get a liver transplant or you will die, just like they do renal transplants. Okay. And high blood pressure is the first sign of vascular disease. A lot of times, I saw a person today on Fridays, incidentally, I see people for free at the Three Rivers Pharmacy from 9 to 12. You can call Sheila Walker, 373-1083, and get an appointment. I saw a gentleman standing there, and we were speaking, and I kind of felt, after speaking to him and looking at him, that he came in for blood pressure medication, that I wondered if he couldn't be diabetic. High blood pressure, inflammation, vascular disease. So I gave him a copy of what I have typed out to get a glucose tolerance and insulin tolerance test. But immediately you can say, well, I may get it, I may not get it. I was concerned about him. Very intelligent gentleman, but I'm worried. Don't live in denial. Get the proper test done. Okay? And so animal-derived foods can be a problem too, because they contain advanced glycation product, AGEs, and are more dangerous when you're frying and roasting and broiling them, because that has a Maillard reaction, which forms AGEs, which cause heart attacks and stroke and vascular disease. So fast food restaurants are a little bit better at now than they used to be. How they fry them is a little more healthy. And so they use a little more water, sometimes searing, but heating food generally makes it more dangerous. Okay, so what are the damaging effects of high fructose corn syrup? Obesity, high blood pressure, diabetes, blindness, liver disease, kidney disease, premature aging, increased triglycerides, increased cholesterol, dementia, strokes, and cancer. You're getting the idea now? And we spend about $200 billion on the health costs of people being overweight and more than that. So meat is processed fast food. Cattle are largely corn-fed. In Kansas City, they have a trough 35 miles long that passes through it genetically modified corn, which the beef eat. Then they put them in a cage for a while to get used to eating corn. They're not meant to eat corn, okay? But so when you're eating a piece of beef, most of the time, what are you eating? Corn. You're eating sugar. You're eating meat, but you're actually eating sugar. Yeah, in Kansas City, they have this trough, 5 miles long. And for you then to eat these cows, and they have sprayed on them the last month of life. They put hormones on them to make them bigger. A lot of bugs get on them, so they use pesticides, hormones. That's all in the food that you're eating, because it falls on the corn. So what is meat? It's a liquid sugar. Meat is liquid sugar. Yeah, and it's processed fast food. So cattle are largely corn-fed. Okay, and So fast food processing and prepared meat is deadly, deadly, deadly. Okay, and then they wrap it in salt, fat, sugar to make it taste a little better yet. Okay, I notice you can go to a fast food restaurant, order even a pork sandwich there, and it's really wrapped in sugar and salt to give a great taste. Mm-hmm. Well, and then they'll add a little buttermilk to it too. And milk is meant for baby cows, not humans. Read the book called Whitewash by Joe Keon. You won't drink milk again once you read that. I've read it many times. Okay? And a lot of these foods have so much salt in them, it's excessive. You need about 1,200 milligrams of salt a day, but some of these foods, KFC, you can have their chicken one of their foods, I think it's a piece of chicken, 3,000 milligrams of sodium in one meal, but you need only 1,200. That has a lot of effects on your kidney. So many schools serve fast foods, and that's concerning. I've tried to penetrate schools to go through their line, look at it. I've been totally unsuccessful. I go online and I give you a phone number and a name, but I've never penetrated that either. I'd appreciate if someone goes to one of the high schools, take some pictures or give me their menu. And what about health disparities? Are they serving different food at one school than another? A student said they do. Now that isn't right, but that's what I've been told. Mm-hmm. Depends on part of the city that it's in. And I also spoke to someone recently where they do serve actually some healthy food, but that person, the one who cleans out the baskets where people can throw leftovers, and they find they take the good food and throw it away. I know of someone that is witnessing that on a daily basis. I suspect the schools and the government is not aware of that. Yeah. So food selection has to be followed and studied. Interesting. I gladly for anyone to send me some information because I can't penetrate the system because the rate of overweight and diabetes in children is huge. And when pediatricians check them, they use the HbA1c, which is a late test, okay? Instead of, they should be doing serum insulins on children. I've even spoken to pediatricians and the head of the Indiana State Society, but they're not wrapping their arms around this. But I'm going to keep on pushing. We got to check our kids properly because we're facing a pandemic, an epidemic of poor health. And we're building more hospitals all the time. I saw today, Journal Gazette, front page, you came in going to build another hospital. I myself would rather emphasize preventing disease so we could close some of the hospitals down. I'm not for hospital growth. They think there's going to be more competition, the price go down. If you believe that, I'd like to sell you something at an exaggerated price because you might buy it. Okay, I don't accept that, and so we need a revolution in information about food. We need a revolution. I declare war on bad health. I need more soldiers, more organizations that join me, but my bullets are information, TV shows, lectures, radio shows, seeing people for free at the Three Rivers Pharmacy. That's how I have declared war. And so we also need political leaders to participate. I have an appointment to speak with the mayor on January the 2nd, and I think he's probably going to join me and help me. That's my prayer. Maybe you can say some prayer that the mayor joins in, which I think he probably would be willing to do, to spread the word in the community that we can turn this war around because people are dying. And and we have one of the unhealthiest cities, counties, and states in the nation. You saw it in the newspaper. I'm not making this up. So, Dr. Furman wrote a book, Fast Food Genocide. Let me hold it up. It's a wonderful book. Wonderful book. I'll admit, he's a friend of mine, but I don't make any money from selling his books. The one on diabetes, my name is actually on the book, but I have no financial thing in it. I just endorsed it. Fast Food Genocide is really what we're participating in. So out of this book, I took this quote. I'd like to read it to you a little bit. It said, "We need a revolution in information about food. Mm-hmm. We need our population to educate themselves too. Okay, they read some books, participate in their health care, but we can have the healthiest population in the history of the world if we take advantage of recent advances in nutrition and food sciences. Read my books, read Dr. Furman's book, Dr. Mark Hyman's book, many other books that give great detail on proper nutrition, exercise, so modern scientific advances in health care and longevity all point to the fact that colorful natural foods eaten as they are grown, picked from the gardens and farms and trees, contain complex factors that protect human health, the vitamins, the minerals, the phytochemicals, organic farming, organic gardening. You eat that way, you'll be on the road to health within weeks. I have the scientific evidence. I've given it to you. So eating fresh fruits, vegetables, beans, nuts, seeds, the anti-fast food diet, okay, is the secret to improving our nation's health. But more than that, if we feed this to our most at-risk and economically sensitive populations, our populations that are economically sensitive, for example, 50% of the nation doesn't have $1 left at the end of the month. Okay, we're not blaming them. We're saying we want to accommodate them. There will be increased opportunity because they will eating the bad food. There will be further reduction in intellectual intellect, increased rates of crime, and all can be avoided. They're for that. We're for that. I'm for that. Okay? We're here today to help people. So instead, we have an industry which has set a system of fast food and addiction. This industry is getting away with this through lobbying money. Our brain is affected by fast food. So available evidence suggests that brain function and human potential are undermined by external factors lurking on American dinner plates. What you're eating is affecting the intelligence of yourself and your children. Mm-hmm. Avoid it. It affects all races, all cultures. Affects everyone. Okay? And poor glucose control is linked with aggression and self-control, crime rate in a given area. Yes, that's been studied. It is correlated with rates of diabetes. Mm-hmm. So the brain is highly dependent on nutrients, and even small amounts of unnatural foods can affect the brain. Evidence has accumulated that it affects your emotional well-being, that your willpower, your determination, your work effort, your patience, your concentration, your creativity. I hope it doesn't affect your tap dancing ability. I do that every week. Okay. And your memory, your intelligence are dependent on nutrients in the food that you're eating. Fascinating. Processed foods lead to premature death and disease. People are dying in their 30s and 40s because the disease started as children. The highest rate of increased obesity has been age 2 to 6. Yet, the pediatricians are not testing the children early enough on the way to diabetes, type 2 especially, but increased rates of type 1. They're recommending the drinking of milk. Yeah, many of them do that. Read Whitewash by Joe Keon. Cow's milk is meant for baby cows, not for other beings. The veterinarians know this. You go to a zoo, they would never give the milk of one species to another species in the zoo. They lose their job. The animals would die. We humans don't die right away. We die later on. But animals die within days of drinking the wrong milk. Well studied. Veterinarians know this. I wonder if doctors know it, that affected humans. So we're eating the American pie, okay? We're eating 55% processed food, okay? 31% animal products. Remember, it has ages in it, bad fats in it, for example. Maybe 10% whole grains at best, and they have to be good grains, okay? So most Americans get their calories need to get their calories from colorful produce, okay? Fast food affects your internal metabolism, the machinery of your body, and has physical effects which are not visible over time usually. Although you could eat one bad meal, if you were to check the serum in the blood, it turns black versus slightly yellow, and that can cause a heart attack. You can die that night. Okay. But some of these facts I'm speaking about, diabetes, takes a little bit of time before it kills you. Okay. So you stay blind. Oh, I'll be all right. I don't have diabetes, but you never had the blood test. Unless you had your blood test, I don't know if you got diabetes or not. Okay. And so commercial foods are fortified with vitamins, and they think that solves the problem. The trouble is with the vitamins, they don't metabolize well in processed food. If you eat them in the food themselves, they're 90% metabolized, your minerals and your nutrients. So don't take a pill to the ill. Eat the food itself with these nutrients, okay? So many people have chronic anger, depression, mental problems occur from nutritional deficiency. So eating right has effects on your moods, okay? So the brain uses hundreds of thousands of micronutrients and phytochemicals to run the machinery up there. So natural food, such as green vegetables, seeds, berries, mushrooms, contain thousands of nutrients that fuel human health. You can live to be 100 if you eat right, and you'll be tight. Okay, so our brains cannot function normally with a continuing unrelenting buildup of free radicals and other metabolic wastes. Okay, so what is a phytochemical? You heard me use the term. Okay. It runs the metabolism machinery of your body. It doesn't have any calories in it, okay? So we need vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals, and we have food deserts, part of the city where good food isn't sold. You just got gas stations in different places that sell fast food, and that's how people eat, and they become unhealthy. We need more organic farms, more organic food places, and I'm going to speak to see if Aldi's can build some more stores, whether there's going to be 4 in the city soon, whether Kroger's, for example, could form a smaller version of it and scatter them throughout the city. I think is important because some people have trouble with access to good food. Okay, and so it destroys us inside and out. Okay, we have maybe 1 out of 8 adolescents is depressed. Okay, it's the top cause of child diseases past age 5 is type of food. Okay, so our microbiome is affected by what we're eating. So it's been opioids affect our biome too. Fast food destroys the brain. Sugar, salt, and oil, craving. Remember I told you about Joseph Kraft, who studied 14,000 people, did 3,000 autopsies in 1975, and said all of vascular disease is starts with elevated serum insulin. So when you need your blood test, ask for a serum insulin. Don't live in denial. You can weigh 250 pounds and have a normal blood sugar. You got diabetes, you may think you haven't got it. You got to prove to me that you don't have it. Why do I want you to have that? Because it has 30, 50 diseases associated, okay? Especially giving soda pop to children can be very dangerous. They get addicted to sugar, become sugar addicts. They're going to be unhealthy. So water is your drink, okay? I drink Pellegrino water with lemon and lime. That's my favorite drink. But plain old water is fine. But you put in some lemon and lime, actually it can taste better. To me, a glass of Pellegrino is like having a glass of wine, okay? And we spoke a little about the omega-3 fats, the good fats, the omega-6, the bad fats. And omega-3 fats, the good fats, and flax, and chia seeds, and fish, leafy greens, and nuts are full of good fats. So you need some fat. 50 years, industry, the government, medicine told us that high sugar, high carbohydrates, low-fat diets will make you healthy. Ancel Keys was one of them. It was totally wrong, and they knew it. They knew it. It's in the books. It's in the books. I've read many books. It was lobbying money and industry. They gave us the wrong information. Why is this nation all of a sudden developing high rates of diabetes and its chronic diseases and being overweight? Look at some people from Europe. Look at people in the United States. There's a problem going on here. Let's open our eyes. Let's be honest about it. Judgment-free zone. Okay. The ALA is the good fat from omega-3. Which makes EPA, DHA. That's a good fat. That's in the cell membranes of every cell of your body. And omega-6 fats are, you need a little bit, but they themselves are the bad fats. They're more likely in soybeans, canola oil, and corn oil. If you heat vegetables, oils, you turn them into trans fats, that'd be like margarine. They're very unhealthy, cause inflammation, and should be totally avoided. And they're, I think, outlawed starting last year. I think it was in the United States. You can't put it in food, for example. So let's summarize here a little bit. And I think you understand now that what fast food is all about, and you need to participate in your health care. You need to look at the food that you are eating. Avoid soda pop, and start eating nutrient-dense food. I think they read the books of Dr. Joel Fuhrman, to read my books, my two last books, Rudy's War on Diabetes. The one before that is the return of slavery. We're slaves to sugar. We were freed from servitude of someone else owning us, but now we're becoming slaves to sugar again. We need to stop that, reverse that, and it can be done. Look at my TV shows, Public Access, and I thank them for that. 1,000 TV shows on there. You can see Rudy Cashman, diabetes, Rudy Cashman, cancer, or gluten, whatever, and the shows will show up for free on YouTube, and also now FM 95.6, and see me for free at the Three Rivers Pharmacy from 9 to 12 on Friday, and I'll teach you how to prevent, stop, reverse illnesses, addictions you may be having. Why are you doing this, Rudy? I'm a doctor. I love you. I don't want you to be disabled. I don't want you to die before your time. Okay? So, but you need to, I'm giving you information. And with that, I would say watch other shows. As long as I can talk, I'll be giving you information. So, namaste. Thank you for watching us. And I'm doing this because I love you. That's why. Okay.